Welcome
Welcome
to Shade
to
in the
Shady
City.
in the City.
I'm your girl, Treese.
It's Nels.
And today we're jumping into our review of Before the 90 Days, season, 6? Episode 7, I think. And it's something about, y'all.
Fatal Attraction.
Huh? Oh, Fatal
Oh,
Attraction.
I don't.
And it didn't even apply this episode. Anyway, TLC, do better. If you knew better, you do better. Anyway, so if you guys haven't already, please make sure that you've hit the doorbell and hit that like button, the thumbs up,
and that subscribe button.
And y'all, Tyray is back. So, y'all, let me just share this with y'all. I literally sat in my office for 20 minutes and cried tears of laughter. Okay, I text Nels about it. I had a whole conference going on in my office. People are walking by me and I am crying hysterically. It was the funniest ever. Anyway, let's get into it and let's get shady. Statler arrives in London and Dempsey's flight has officially been canceled. Statler is anxious and talks about how she understands, but, worries Dempsey could be changing her mind about things. And, she's letting the anxiety and everything get the best of her. She feels she has a lot riding on this trip and says that the rest of her life depends on it. Well, that's the problem, first of all. That's the first problem. Okay? You're riding too much on somebody you met once. Let's pump your brakes. You don't need to move in right.
Well, at that point, haven't even met.
Right. And basically, she says she has no plan B. Well, Statler is going to the hotel she booked for them in Manchester and plans to try to relax before Dempsey is supposed to join her. And then she has an issue with the bathroom being so close to the bed and begins to stress about that, on top of everything else that she's already stressed about. And I said, okay, Statler, I'm gonna need you to it's a lot of stress. It made me stress watching her stress. It was too much. Statler has been sick all night and going through the day. She got the BGs.
Let me just say this. TLC really be doing too much.
Why would y'all TLC is taking it too far.
Why she's on the toilet? You can actually hear her.
I didn't hear that part. Thank God.
Really?
Yes, thank God. I like, because I had the captions on, I knew enough that I was like, and like I said, I was doing double duties. So I was like, yeah, I can ignore this part.
TLC really be doing the most.
Yeah, they are.
That could have been edited out.
Right. TLC, we didn't need that. And I think you need to at some point give people their privacy, but that's just my opinion. But then I was like, oh, if we ever needed a sign that this was a bad idea, now you're sick. So she's supposed to meet, I'm just saying. So she's supposed to meet Dempsey at the train station, but has to go to the doctor's first if ever there was a sign that you don't, this might not be a good idea. She learns she has a parasite.
First of all, wait, I got something else to say.
And she's not contagious, though. And
wait, first of all, before she even left, now this is some nasty. You are going to the doctor to go get checked out. And instead of washing your ass before you leave, you spray some Carolina Herrera on your ass.
What is it?
Carolina Herrera. She sprayed some goddamn perfume on her little ass cheeks and walked out the goddamn door instead of washing her ass.
After all that?
Yes.
Oh, that's nasty. That's nasty.
What the hell is this?
You looking worse. You looking worse than David right now, Statler. That's not.
Oh my God.
So, then basically she gets the nausea medication. She's feeling better. So she decided that she was gonna decide to meet Dempsey, and I said, look in any kind of way.
Really, it didn't make a difference because they.
Yeah, I was gonna say, when I saw Dempsey, I was like, I guess they are meant to be. it was giving, we're brothers, we're happy. It was
Right?
yeah. They're two peas in a pod. So Statler finally meets up with Dempsey, and she's 28, lives on a farm in Darlington, England. They both seem excited to see each other. They both share, like, oh, this is, I can't believe it. But they're both kind of awkward. They're both socially awkward. But it seems to
I
be a
thought it was
match.
actually kind of cute.
Right, but it seems to be a match made in heaven, is what my notes say. And Dempsey has gifts for Statler, and Statler wants to check out her butt. And production asks what the plans are for tonight, and we already know what's on Statler's mind, and that was Statler and Dempsey. So the meet and greet went well. We'll see how it gets when they get in the same quarters.
Only thing I was thinking of was I hope she takes a shower first.
I hope so too.
So Jasmine and Gino are headed to the Panama Canal because he's an engineer. This is so up
Oh,
his
is that what
alley,
that
okay?
was?
Yeah.
I said they went to some again, y'all, I was double duties. I said they went to what looks like the Panamanian shipyard.
They're ships.
Yeah, right.
um Basically, he said it's something he's always wanted to see every time he went there, because like I said, he's an engineer and it's one of the greatest feats for engineering. So Jasmine is basically just talking this man's head off. I mean, I was actually getting annoyed. Like, can you let the man enjoy this, please? And she's like, doesn't it make you feel proud that your country, built this? Both of our countries have always had love history. He
When
really ain't
doing
feeling you right now.
when
Thought I
doing
was
too
feeling
much
you.
goes wrong.
He's like, yeah, like relax. So she did notice that his energy was off, and
She's giving pick me.
she's giving forgive me.
Well, she ain't even got a reason that, well, I guess I don't know. Jasmine's
As far
confused.
as she knows, it could just be off the FaceTime call
I guess.
that she told him about. But she did notice that his energy was off, and she feels like he's been acting weird since last night. And he was. So she asked him, what's going on? Like, you good? And he said, yeah. Uh-huh. I'm fine. um, so she tells him, that they need to work on communication. And here I am trying to communicate with you. And he said, I'm good. Just leave me the hell alone. Let me enjoy my view. So she tries to explain that basically her and her ex had communication problems. And he's like, well, me and my ex didn't. So she's like, well, why would you bring up your ex? And he's like, she brought up your ex. The hell? If you
Well,
can do
I don't
it,
understand.
I can do
My thing is, if her and her ex had such communication problems, why is she still talking to him? Why is she confiding in him? Why is that her confidant? I don't understand if they had such communication issues when they was together.
If only you was there in his ear.
Huh?
I said, if only you was there in his ear, whispering this. I felt like he was asking some good questions, some valid
No,
questions.
I do,
But
but I didn't
that would have been a
understand
good
that.
question to ask too. So that would have been a good question for him to ask as well.
Why are you still talking to him if he was so good at communicating?
So basically, he said he's trying to enjoy the scenery. He did say he's trying to have a good time with Jasmine today because they've been arguing a lot, but he really can't stop thinking about the whole mess with Dane. So she asked him what's really going on because he's been weird. And he told her that, he's been concerned after she said she's been talking to Dane, and let her know that her friend told her that she used to date Dane. So she knows. So I'm sorry. So he knows that she was lying. I know. Look, the look on her face was like, Yura, I'm gonna get you, girl. I'm gonna get you. Don't you ever ask me for shit. And basically she said, well, there's nothing going on. It's not like I'm cheating on you. And he's like, well, are you? The hell, I don't know. So she kind of starts laughing, and she was like, this is crazy, and I'm not laughing at you. I just get nervous and, start laughing. He's like, so why the hell are you nervous? I said, you just switched up a little bit. This ain't the Gino that we saw before.
No,
He
it
like,
wasn't.
so she tells him that she's been faithful and she's not cheating on him, and he brings up that she doesn't want him speaking to his ex at all, or she'll fly off the handle, even if he brings up her name. And she says, well, they never shared any nude pics. So she probably had a problem with it before then, though. Who knows?
I'm sure
So
she
she's
did.
like, yeah, so she's like, so don't compare. So he really just wants to know the nature of their relationship. And she says that they talk at least once a week. Sometimes they meet up to, go shopping and just talk, like friends do. So he asked if they've ever been alone recently. And she said yes, because he lives in the same building. They just had coffee a few days before Gino got there. And of course, he's feeling some type of way because he's like, I would have never paid for her whole place had I known this man was living in the building. And he thinks, he then asked,
the audacity of you to make me pay for you to live somewhere so you could live around your ex.
Mm-hmm. So then he asked if they've had sex since they broken up. And she said that they became friends with benefits. Wrong road, girl. I mean, you might be a little too honest. What? She said that they became friends with benefits because the sex was good. But since she met Gino, it stopped. And he
But
asked
I still felt the need to live around him.
So he asked if she ever thought about having sex with him. And she basically said, well, you don't want to have sex with me. You ain't never in the mood. You reject me. You don't want to kiss me. You don't want to touch me. And it's unlocking all these insecurities. So basically, yeah. So of course he gets upset. You're out here fantasizing about your ex. And, he basically says by Jasmine's definition, she cheated. Because had he done the same thing, had he been talking to his ex, she would have felt like he cheated. So, well, and he feels like they really need to figure this out before it's time for her to move to America.
I was confused by that because I was like, well, I don't think there's anything to figure out. You need to leave her alone. That's what it sounds like to me. But, they want to, they claim they love each other. They want to make it work. So kudos to them. So Meisha and Nikola are going out to see another holy site. She admits she's enjoying herself with Nikola, but is bothered by some of his actions and feels like, he never wants to really address the issues. And, they're not really being considered. So she still wants to meet his family, is still upset that after 7 years, they don't know nothing about her. And so when they arrive at their destination, Meisha stops. And apparently there's like a bride coming out of wherever, a church or wherever they were at, and she feels underdressed. So she needs to get into the backseat of the car and change her clothes.
I'm confused how she didn't realize that was a wedding dress.
I don't know, but she said she didn't feel like she was dressed up enough. And Nikola finds this behavior to be weird and unnecessary. He takes her to what he called the valley, or says, what is it called? Haifa?
La Haifa.
It's a sacred place for the Catholics. And as they stroll, he asks her if she feels, better today than she did yesterday when they had a lot of drama. Now, Meisha lets him know that she's in a better mood, but her concerns they still haven't been addressed. So then they sit down and Nikola tells her that, hey, I told my brother about you and told him I want to present you to him. And I want y'all to meet, basically. So she's like, oh, okay. And he's like, because you've been rushing me ever since you got here. Every day it's about, I said, what day? He said, I'm just taking my time and you rushing.
So you had 7 whole years.
What happened?
That he had 7 whole years.
Right.
And now we ain't got that much time while I'm here. So let's get her done.
So basically she lets him know that if I go home unengaged, sweetie, it's over. So
this ain't what we discussed over the phone. What the hell is coming from?
So Nikola is hurt because Meisha has never threatened their relationship before. And he says that he has no plans on changing. He admits that he has no plans on changing, but he still plans to get engaged to Meisha because he loves her so much. I respect, well, I'm Tequila. I respect his honesty. I have no plans on changing.
I respect people's honesty when they're saying it to the people that need to hear it.
Oh, that part. So Meisha, Nikola takes Meisha downtown, to downtown Haifa. Yeah. And he calls it hell. Now he's not interested in bars or nightclubs.
I don't know why I thought that was so funny. You said, where is this hell?
Nikola realizes that this relationship thing is a little harder than he thought. She has a drink at dinner and asks him the last time he was at a bar. He says 20 years ago, he believes Catholics aren't supposed to be smoking cigarettes and out at the bar, dancing and drinking and carrying on. And she reveals she has a cigarette every year on New Year's Eve, and that's her tradition, and she gonna do it, damn it. And one cigarette don't change her from being more of a Catholic than the other. So, Nicola's like, no, we can't do that. That is not right. And he realizes that he's a little concerned that she's a little bit more worldly than he thought. So, she feels like she doesn't need to be guilted for dancing, and takes him and it's like, let's go around here to the little club. And then he agrees to go.
Said 10 minutes max. He said 5 minutes, 10 minutes max. Next scene you see is him dancing more than she was.
Nikola was having a good time.
I thought it was funny as hell. He said, I'm doing this for you.
But Meisha realizes or likes the fact that he can compromise for her. Mm-hmm. And I also think it's a lot to do because they're not married yet, because I'm sure once she's his wife, he may feel differently. Tyray, okay? He is still on the hunt, okay?
Not the hunt.
He's on the
hunt.
Is,
though. He really is.
And he has hired a PI and to start looking for Carmela, right? Now, him and LaShanti sit down with the investigator, and he reveals that he didn't get much, but what he did find out is that Carmela is a cam P-star. I'm abbreviating for a reason. Okay.
Oh, can we not say that?
No, you can't say that.
Oh, okay.
So Tyray says he's more confused than ever. He says he and Carmela were soulmates, and he's devastated to learn the truth, but wants to continue to try and reach out to Carmela.
We're soulmates.
Now, because this is how it's playing in my head when I'm watching it.
This is why you was dying laughing.
Right. I was in my office laughing. Now he believes Carmela and Christian are working together to scam him. Jesus Christ. Tyray seems like he's finally ready to let go of the Carmela dream. He said he reached out to the real Carmela, but she still hasn't responded. So he wants to share with his family about his secret before this all comes out on national television. So he tells them about being catfished by Carmela. His sister felt something was off, but thought he just needed a break, and thought that this was his reason for, taking a random trip to Barbados. He shares how he was stood up, and his mother and sister are shocked to hear this. He then shares that he was catfished, and Mama is confused. So he tells them about the PI, and they're still in awe. But then he breaks the news that he may go back to Barbados so that he can find the answers on why this person did this to him.
That's what really got me. You couldn't find her last time you went, sir. And on top of it, how do you know she even really lived in Barbados?
He admits.
Does he not understand what a catfish is?
He still believes. The person behind the messages is a woman, and he needs to know that the feelings were really real. The mom and sister both agree that he's holding out hope that she's real, and I think we're going to see Tyray continued to hunt for Carmela for the rest of
Oh my God.
the
This is literally.
I'm not gonna lie. If I was TLC at this point, I'd be like, Tyray, it's over. Your storyline is up. Thank you for your services.
Maybe he's just trying to get a check. Because I mean, this is the definition of tomfoolery. This is craziness.
And the mama and sister,
it just,
they were like, so do you want to be with the girl or the boy? I don't understand. Like, why are you still pursuing
it just progressively gets worse. It just gets worse.
No, it's the problem is he won't accept that he got had. And that he even said that. He said that to the investigator. He was like, he just doesn't want to believe that this happened to him. He wants to believe that this love that he established with this person is real, and that, yeah, they may have been scamming him. They may have wanted him for his money, but the love between them somehow was real.
If the love was that real, why is she not reaching back out to you, homie? Why are you going to use a little bit of money?
Because Tyray ain't got no damn sense.
Why are you going to use a little bit of money you got to fly back to Barbados and get still no answers? She probably, whoever it is, probably don't even live in Barbados. They might live up the street from his ass.
Who knows? Poor Tyray. Not really.
They really don't know how catfish work. I ain't gonna lie. I actually felt bad for Riley this episode. Partly for a little bit, and then I didn't.
Oh, okay.
So Riley and Violet met at the War Remembrance Museum, and he's hoping after the blow up that they had the day before, they can get back on track. Violet says that she wants to talk to him and let him know how rude he is in Vietnam, according to their culture. Right. So she told him that after dinner, the night prior, her mom told her that Riley is jealous and he wants to control her. And he wasn't thoughtful because he didn't bring the mama a gift.
Right. And she wasn't feeling that. She said, where they do that at? So
he's like, well, I don't know what she likes. Sorry, what type of excuse is that? Come on now.
Oh no, and I love when Violet called him on it and said, "Sweet." She said you could have texted me and asked me what my mother liked.
Exactly, but she made her an excuse for him and said maybe he forgot. I don't know if that makes it any better, but I mean, if you forgot one, you should have forgot all. Right. To bring it for everybody else's craziness. So he said that it wasn't his intention to disrespect her home, or her mother. And he does need to learn more about her culture, but when is she going to learn about his culture? I said, ooh, okay, Riley.
I was proud of Riley. I said, okay.
For example, you called me fat and ugly in front of people. And in American culture, that's rude and disrespectful. Well, that Violet says that, she even says that to her friends and her kids, and they don't consider it rude. She was just kidding. And he says that, it's cool when we're alone and we're joking amongst each other, but when we are with strangers, I'm a guest here. And literally the only person, he's only seen one other person, his skin color. So to him, it felt like an attack. Right. And he said, how am I supposed to feel when you talk in your language and then you tell me that you said I was ugly and I don't have any type of context, and now you're trying to tell me it's a joke, but to me it comes off as a fact. I said, well, point. You've got a point. Right. And Violet said that, she did feel bad, and she did sympathize with him, and it was never her intention to upset him or make him upset him. So to make this relationship work, she realizes that she has to make some changes of her own, and she does apologize. Right. So he said he accepts her apology and says he doesn't want to give up on them. They just, really need to do a little bit more digging and understand each other's culture a little bit better and listen. So he invites her to dinner, and she says she's going to wear something sexy. So when they met up for dinner, she wants to know about how it works, in America with families, like if they don't like your spouse, because they're in Vietnam, if your family don't like them, you ain't get married. Right. And he tells her it is very important for the family to get along with the spouse and the friends get along with the spouse, but if you my wife, it really don't matter. That's what it is. It doesn't matter what anyone else says. And she says that she feels good, that his dad likes her because they talk. And he said, yeah, when we argue, you contact my dad and say really bad things about me. She said, no. What we're not about to do is get into no negative conversations. And if you don't hear me and what I'm saying, I'm about to get up and leave. So he apologized and says, you know what, I receive it. Clearly he did not. So then he tells her that he's glad that, she gets along with his dad. But his friend Tiffany really wanted to meet her. And he called her on FaceTime and handed the phone off to her and said, I'll be back and run to the bathroom. So Tiffany gets on the phone and said, Riley really feels like you're the one. How do you feel about him? And she's like, he's a good man. So Tiffany really want to know why she was still on the app after telling Riley to get off.
I felt like that was a lie.
It was a setup. And Violet is just kind of looking like, what the hell is going on? So Riley is like, she's asking you a question. Why are you over here looking at me?
Right.
She wants to hear from you. And said, when I was at your house and your family was asking me questions, didn't I answer them? And Violet
said Riley out here getting
ambushed. The look on her face looked like she clearly felt ambushed.
Right.
That's definitely what it was. Yeah, he didn't get the memo when she said, yeah, let's not do no negativity tonight. Can't give a damn. He said, okay, it ain't gonna come from me, it's gonna come from my homegirl. So,
well, last but not least, we get into Christian and Cleo. Now, Christian feels guilty that he just rolled over and went to sleep on Cleo. And Cleo was hoping for a little more physical affection. She wanted some sexual healing. Now,
well, she said she didn't. She wanted
so
TLC.
He sees her put on her estrogen gel and wants to know more about it. And she explains and
she called it fish juice.
Oh, is that what she called it?
She called it fish juice.
Oh.
I think that's what made him a little bit more curious.
Right. And so she explains that, that she puts that's how she takes her hormones, and obviously it's different in America because we're very pill based. So I thought that was very interesting. Shout out to TLC for showing us that. But then he admits he likes how open she is, but then that kind of also kind of weirded him out a little bit. To the point where he was like, I don't know if I can touch her, like how long it could be on her skin before it might rub on my skin. And she even jokes like, please don't worry, after 3 or 4 minutes, like you won't turn into a transgender woman. Please don't.
Right. I was like.
So, you know what I think? I think that the vibe that I get from them is that they would be really good friends. Like in their element, like they may be and even a situationship, cuddy buddies, or whatever they want to do and explore, like real relationship, I don't see. But as far as like them being friends and like kind of joke, like they give me buddies.
Yeah.
But anyway, so they just try to discuss the plans for the day, and he wants to explore. This alarms Cleo because obviously she needs a little bit more of a plan and predictability. So
that is so Virgo.
So he wants to go to the heart of downtown London, and you can tell Cleo is out of her element. They sit down for a drink, and he apologizes for, knocking out on her, and tells her he doesn't want her to think it's not because he's not attracted to her. And she's like, well, I wouldn't have slept with you first night anyway. So, don't flatter yourself, brother. They share a whiskey kiss, because apparently he drinks whiskey all the damn time.
It seemed like he drinks a lot of everything all the damn time.
And he says he likes to go dancing and ask her if she likes to dance. So he wants to see Cleo with a buzz and wants to take her somewhere lively, and hoping that it will help her loosen up. And that would make him feel a little more confident in the relationship. So then they go out to a bar, and she's not really comfortable with the crowd, and he wants to make sure, but she wants to make sure he has a good time. So she says the situation is not very autism friendly. And he decides to talk about being drunk on the plane and meeting some girls on the plane and offering to buy them drinks. And then the flight attendant cut him off because somebody snitched on him. Even Cleo says she would have been turned off as well by that. Cleo seems to be a bit bothered by the story, and Christian is trying to understand the issue because he's just a social guy. So Cleo is starting to wonder if they're even compatible. And after having this conversation, he strikes a conversation with the table behind him full of women. And does introduce Cleo and tells her to move closer, but she declines. Cleo shares she has trouble processing information when more than one person is talking at a time. And she says when her senses, when her senses are overloaded, she needs her own space. And feels Christian isn't giving her much consideration. And yeah, she's now second guessing this relationship. And she basically was like, I need to go. And they do end up leaving, but he was still trying to talk to the ladies at the table behind.
I love that she's so aware of like what's going on with her.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
I think that's dope.
Yeah.
But yeah, your thoughts on Cleo and Christian?
Well, I already told you, I don't think Geminis and Virgos go well together.
Well, there's that part. So yeah, thank you guys for tuning in to another quick recap of the before the 90 days. I was about to say before the 90 days the other way. Anyway, before the 90 days, if you haven't already, please make sure that you've hit that like button.
You comment.
You subscribe.
And you hit the notification bell.
And make sure you're following us on all the platforms, the TikTok, the Twitter, the Facebook, and the IG. And we will catch you next time for another review of Before the 90 Days. Y'all have a good night and a great weekend. Bye-bye.
Good night.